And Guidry goes, let's go look at something that took place 40 years ago. Okay, that's
Hi, welcome to another edition of the Lawyer's Den here at International Broadcast Media. I'm looking for my friend. I know he's out there somewhere, but just before I do that, I do have to say, I am so pleased today, a subject that is a little bit cranky for everybody, but I'll wait for Nick. Nick, where are you?
I have arrived, Mr. Bill. I have arrived. And I bring my fan club with me. Just like, who's that guy? Adam brings his fan club with him. So we all have to have our fan club.
Okay, so what do we have, Nick?
Well, we have a group of panelists, and the thing is they keep coming back. Just like we have a lot of viewers, they keep coming back, which just tells me there's a lot of sick people in the world. There's some good medication for that, but we'll get into that later. In the meantime, let's introduce some of our panelists. Hailing from BYU University, who has a Juris Doctorate in law. He also is admitted before the Supreme Court of the United States and has a master's in law from George Washington University. Our philosopher of the group, we have Jeff Tyker. Jeff, welcome back.
Glad to be here.
Yeah, it's good to have you. You haven't given up yet. The operative word is yet.
Well, no, Nick. On this one, I just want to ask. I mean, from the great state of Utah, Jeff. I mean, there are kinds of concerns out there. How are you feeling? Because
I'm feeling good. What specific concerns are you talking about?
Oh, I'll get that into the round robin. Nick?
Okay, we have another person that actually hails from Lithuania that appeals to our international audience as we do broadcasts into 122 countries. She did move to the United States of America, the Tower of Power, and attended the University of Denver School of Law, receiving a Juris Doctorate and a Master's in Law in International Law. Now practices in Florida. The class of our class, let's bring in Guidry Stantonite. Guidry, welcome to the show. Super uno, or whatever the heck they say. Super ding.
Very nice.
Gasiska, whatever the heck they say over there in Lithuania land. What do they say?
In Lithuania, they say labas.
Labas?
Perfecto.
Really? Labas. Okay. For our Lithuanian audience, labas. For our Russians, we have different things. Okay. Well, we're rushing around now, and we found this gentleman in the bowels of Brooklyn. He actually attended the State University of New York in Buffalo, and then decided to give it up and head to the Big Banana, the New York City, after passing the New York bar, and now practices as a street fighter in New York. Let's bring in Fernando Leal.
Hey, everybody. Nice to be back.
Okay, and I think that's the panel for today.
No. I think we're missing somebody.
Oh, we are? Oh yeah, you're right. I shouldn't.
I mean, I'm not missing him, but I think.
No. Yeah, see, there could be a couple of his fan clubs may miss him. Nope, they haven't shown up yet. That's good.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. So this person actually went to the University of Southern California, received his BA degree, then swam across the shore to the Ohio State University, received a law degree. Then, keeping on further, he received a master's in criminal law from the University of Alabama, and I guess that's his specialty, I'm not sure. Then went to New York University and received a master's in law. So notice all the education this person has. So what does he do? He's a professor, first at the Indiana Tech School of Law and now at Georgia College. Let's bring in our professor, Adam Lamparero. Adam, welcome to the show.
Great to be here. Thanks, Mike.
Yeah, you didn't see the comments from New Zealand, did you, on your show?
No, I did not.
Oh, well, New Zealand came in, but they weren't very positive. So you'll have to go back and watch yesterday's show. Yeah, you have a fan club in New Zealand, but it's a little different. But anyway, that doesn't matter. We still have one more person, the person who went to the State University of New York at Buffalo and actually practices law in Washington, D.C., the Tower of Power, our den master, the Honorable Bill President. Welcome to the show. And now, Bill, we can get to the bottom line. What are we talking about today? What is the issue that this august organization is going to deal with? You're muted, so I guess we don't have to deal with any issue.
No, we do. I mean, Nick, you were so charming. I mean, I did not know. I'm going to try it this way. Trump versus the internet. That's our topic for the day, or social media. Whatever you want to say. But for our briefing, we're going to Fernando, and then I'm going to Jeff. So, Fernando, please.
Bill. Okay. So what we have is Trump, as we all know, he had a Facebook account and a Twitter account. On those accounts, he would make these bombastic statements full of half-truths and, quite frankly, a lot of times just a lot of nonsense. These statements are reviewed by Facebook and Twitter with their, committee for community standards. These statements got him banned from Facebook and thrown into Facebook jail. So, the community standard board is the prison warden. They reviewed his statements, threw him into solitaire. You do get an opportunity to appeal on Facebook this decision made by the warden when you get thrown into Facebook jail. I'm sure that Trump said yes, or somebody in his organization. That then gets kicked up to the Facebook prison warden review board. The prison review board reviews it and either says, yes, it was the right decision, or no, it was the wrong decision. We're going to let the statement stand. Lo and behold, obviously the decision by the lower warden was upheld that Trump's statements violate all the community standards, and now they're banning him from Facebook. So what does Trump do?
Okay. All right. Fernando, seriously. Jeff, can I come to you? Because I think we talked about this. No, Fernando, I don't mean to cut you off, except that it seems to me, whatever. Jeff.
Well, in discussing the legal implications, I think we have to begin with the First Amendment. Now, the First Amendment protects the freedom of speech and press, and I think we can infer that would include the freedom of the press is the freedom to publish. I think we can infer that would include the internet. However, that doesn't end the argument, because we also, the freedom of the press and the freedom of speech originally limited only Congress. That First Amendment begins, Congress shall make no law. And then, of course, in the post-Civil War amendments, that was applied to the states as well. But you have to have a violation of the First Amendment, you have to have state action, either action by Congress or action by a state. So right. Is Facebook within its rights then to make a decision as a private platform banning Donald Trump? I think they are. However, as a person who favors free speech and believes that in a very democratic form of free speech, I also believe that these platforms get very special treatment right now. They get a immunity from liability for things that people say on these platforms. I think they need to make a choice. I think they need to either decide to accept the immunity and not then censor what private parties are saying, or they need to, if they're going to take responsibility for what private parties are saying on the platform, then I believe they need to give up their immunity and be liable for defamatory statements or whatever.
No, I got that part. Adam and then Guidry, because I don't know where Guidry is, because Nick is censoring people right now. Okay. Adam?
The Democratic Party is the party of discrimination, and they have been for centuries. What's happening on social media, Twitter, Facebook, is that those who control Facebook and Twitter are extremely liberal, and they are discriminating against conservative voices, including Donald Trump. And I find it funny that for 2 years after Donald Trump was elected, the liberals at CNN barked and barked about how Russian interference in the election was undermining our democracy. Well, to the audience, I will tell you, our democracy is being undermined right at home
by the people who control social media. They're discriminating against conservatives. Trump is a byproduct of that. It's wrong. It's anti-democratic. And it's undermining our electoral integrity.
Right. Okay, fine. Look, Deidre, please, and then Nick, wherever you are, because Nick, you're an owner. Deidre, please, first.
Well, it's funny how Adam attacks liberals for controlling the media. In fact, based on recent data, both conservatives and liberals mistrust the information published on social media. So the issue here is really not who is controlling, but in fact, the issue is that misinformation is spreading widely, and the social networks such as Twitter, Facebook, YouTube should be held accountable to a certain extent to the moderation of the content. And right now we are dealing with this Supreme Court, semi-Supreme Court of the social network that Facebook incorporated in its existence, which in my opinion is ridiculous. I think it's toothless. I think it just creates a lot of buzz right now for us to talk about this UN of the freedom of speech or content moderation. And I have a lot of issues with that. I think, in fact, instead of that, we should talk about the Section 230, how it is being applied and how it should be curtailed to a certain point of more addressing the reasonableness of the content that is being published and misinformation on the social networks.
Okay, Nick.
And you just spreaded misinformation.
No,
Adam, what do you have before I go to Nick? I mean, please, Adam.
Let me keep it very simple. Social media is discriminating against conservatives by trying to suppress their speech. It is antithetical to democracy, liberty, and the First Amendment.
That's all you got? Seriously.
I have more, but I'd like to have everyone else speak because I don't want to monopolize the time.
Oh, no. Then you don't get the main
If you think Jack Dorsey or Mark Zuckerberg has any interest in equality and fairness, then I'm the fucking tooth fairy. I am so angry at the way that conservatives, even moderate conservatives, are being suppressed. Their speech is being suppressed. They're being subject to discrimination by the very party that endorsed slavery, the Democratic Party.
Wow.
And if Deidre wants to spread misinformation, then I'd say she's in the right camp with her liberal Democratic friends.
But
okay, Adam. No, go ahead, Deidre.
There are a lot of institutions that are conservative, extreme conservative institutions driven on internet, such as Parler and so on, and there is need for certain content moderation.
Parler was eliminated.
Well, but Adam, if you look into the society and mistrust in information on the most recent data that has been published, I think by the New York Times, it's really both parties, conservative and liberal, mistrust and misinformation. But you are joining the choir of multiple conservatives who are really singing the same song, that they are being poor and disadvantaged. It's not true.
Good. I like to sing. And number two, the New York Times is about as reliable as the National Enquirer.
Okay, Adam, I appreciate you. Now, Nick.
It's about time we have a voice of reason here, so I think I'll...
No, Nick. I've got to set up. May I, please? Just give me like 30 seconds.
Oh, 30 seconds? Okay, I can do this in 30 seconds. Adam is full of it. Okay, I'm done. And then if you want me to explain later, I will.
You missed my question, because I'm going to go Nick, you, and then Fernando, and then Jeff. But Nick, you are a media mogul.
Yeah, well the thing is...
No, censorship.
What?
I mean, they raised...
Hey, look. Okay, see, Adam and you guys are way too young to remember the War of the Worlds. And what happens, it was blasted on media. And what happens was complete lie. And traditional media is not allowed to do that anymore. Unfortunately, today we have the internet and social media who gets a pass. Well, do they? And the answer is no. They're trying to do what they call self-regulation, which we have in financial services, self-regulated organization. So what Zuckerberg is doing is correct, in spite of the fact that Adam feels, and boy, the tears just flow from me, you know, that his conservatives that hold up in these hills of Georgia where he lives can't get their word across. Of course they can. They go to other sites. They just don't. They can't spread their lies in Facebook, and they can't spread their lies in Twitter. We just don't want to listen to their lies. So a private company does not have to listen to your garbage lies that you promulgate from a party that at one point in time was following the correct procedure, but as you move forward is basically antiquated, disgusting, and in disarray. And then that's the realities of it, Bill. I don't know what else to say.
No, I appreciate that.
I don't know.
No, Nick, I appreciate that. Fernando, I want to ask you this. Look, I argued on another show that when Democrats win, why can't we, govern? Now, Fernando, for you, Trump won. Why can't he speak, Fernando?
He can speak. The problem is that when he is speaking on a private platform, he is subject to their rules, whether he likes it or not. There is one inherent problem with Facebook and Twitter. They are private companies, but they work in the public sphere. So if you're going to work in the public sphere and you're giving away your program for free so that everyone can use it, then maybe at that point they are crossing into arguments of free speech. If they want to make it completely private, they're going to have to charge like cable television does, like HBO does. And that protects them from FCC rules, for example, in the case of HBO. They can curse, they can show nudity, which you can't on ABC or CBS because they're free channels that are disseminated to the public. It looks also, the Supreme Court looks like they're trying to find a 230 case to narrow the scope of 230.
No. Fernando, I'm not going 230. I don't need that right now. I just want to know, listen, when people win and people lose, look, he lost, but he gets a right to speak. And I want to know what corporations can and cannot do. And then, Fernando, got to be quick because I'm going around the horn because I know Adam and Guidry have something to say about this.
So corporations can do, it depends on how the corporation is being operated. If you're a closed corporation that isn't working in the public sphere, then guess what? You can pretty much make whatever rules you want and curtail whatever speech you want. If you're going to be a corporation that's crossing over into the public hemisphere and you're acting as a newspaper stand where you're claiming, hey, I'm just putting that stuff out there, I'm not creating it or doing anything. I'm just going to look over a couple of things. And if I think that they're objectionable, or I think that it's a half truth, then I'm going to pull it back. That's a problem because you are kind of losing your private sphere protection when you're crossing over into the public.
I don't care anymore. Adam, you have been a big proponent of authoritarian Chinese rule. Now, what do you have to say about this? I mean, because quite frankly, can't you just control the discussion, Adam?
It does not apply to private corporations like Facebook and Twitter. But that's not the issue. The issue here is that Facebook and Twitter are discriminating against conservative voices by subjectively censoring those voices. They are not making everybody equal to their policies. They're selectively enforcing them against people whose viewpoints that they disagree with. The remedy for that is for Congress to intervene to stop this discrimination. And I'm quite frankly shocked that Guidry would continue to endorse discrimination. After all the progress we've made in this society, she continues to do so, and I'm appalled.
Guidry, discrimination. Seriously, what's going on? And then, Nick, I'm coming to you. But Guidry, discrimination? I'm outraged.
There's no discrimination. Let's drop the ball. Let's the victim game, Adam, please.
And Santa Claus is real.
But Adam, we need to focus on a real issue right now. Why we're going to have similar oversight boards as Facebook is incorporating right now. The fact is that there are we have hate speech, we have discriminatory speech, and we have imminent danger. inciting speeches. And those are the three primary reasons why there is a content moderation in general. I do think that there are issues. We do not have good standards. The private companies still do not have good standards. Going back to the decision that involved President Trump's expressions on January 6th, why he was banned from Facebook, the oversight board decided and kicked it back to Facebook and said that Facebook did not have a policy, specific rules to permanently ban Trump from Facebook, and said, Facebook, you need to work on your own regulations that should be not vague, specific, and standard providing for Facebook community, international human rights, and also Facebook values. And then we are going to consider it. So now Facebook is stuck. Mark Zuckerberg has 6 months to decide to write those rules, and we will see what's going to happen.
Tell me something, Guidry. Did they suppress the post by a professor who said she was dancing on Barbara Bush's grave when she died? No.
Okay, no,
this is discrimination that you're endorsing.
No, you know what I'm going to say? That the majority of posts that went to the oversight board were all sent back to Facebook for its publication. So it's meaning that there's still freedom of speech is being valued and being celebrated. And even there was a comment that involved Rohingya during the massacre that was happening in Myanmar. And the oversight board made a difficult decision and sent it back for the comment to be posted, because it said that it did not create imminent danger.
I'm not surprised that a liberal would endorse discrimination.
No, Adam, I'm throwing a red flag right now.
Those are
a flag or whatever flag. Yeah, please. You can listen to this, unmute, and then I really need, for everybody else out there in the world, something from our West Coast. And then, Nick, I'm coming to you. Jeff, please.
Take this out of the realm of Facebook just for a second and think about, say, Netflix or VidAngel, for example. VidAngel is known, now they got into lawsuits about editing other people's movies and things, but they're a platform for family-friendly entertainment. Are they required by law to provide equal time, for example, to pornographic films? No, they're not. Why? Because they are a private company. It's a private website. It has a private mission, and they control all the content. Now, if somebody gets slandered in a movie that's on their website, they are going to be responsible for that, whether they produced the movie or not. Applying the same principles to Facebook, we have to decide, Facebook has to decide, are you a publisher and are you responsible for the content on your site or aren't you? And if they are, then they can censor anybody they want. They can make the message whatever they want it to be, but they get immunity from lawsuits because they are supposedly just a platform letting other people say whatever they want.
Okay.
Well, that appears not to be true if you're Donald Trump. And so let me just conclude saying, I think they've got to decide who they are and stop trying to have it both ways. And I agree with Adam. Congress needs to step in and do something.
Okay, fine. I'm really tired with all you people agreeing with each other. Nick, seriously, let me try it this way. Look, private control. When does it end? Because why can't I just do what I want? And Fernando, I'm coming to you next. But seriously, Nick, look, if I own the corporation, which you do, you're on.
Bill, I'm absolutely appalled that these Republicans and these conservatives originalists want to control speech through more government regulation and control. Adam goes, the first thing we need to do is get the government, because they're not going to listen to all my lies and innuendos and conspiracy theories and all my craziness. Look, it's a private company, dude. You got to get over it. And they don't have to listen to your garbage. So they have every right in the world to say, look, it's garbage. We don't want to listen to it. And they turn them off at Twitter. They turn them on Facebook. If you don't like it, you can go to another channel. Go to Parler. go to major media, go somewhere else. But we're in a free society, which we are. We don't have the right. You don't have the right to take your garbage into my studio.
Okay, fine, Nick.
We have a right to equal treatment.
No, Nick.
And that's what matters.
No, Adam, I'm coming to you. Guidry, free society. I mean, Nick raised it. Adam has attacked you. I don't know why there's disagreement today. But, look, free society. Say what you want. And then how are you thinking? Because, I mean, I know you ran away from a free society. Guidry.
Well, I do not think that there is such a thing as absolute freedom of speech. I think there has to be certain regulations. I do not think that Congress needs to be primarily involved in it. I think it is within the organizations, especially when those organizations are private. I do agree with Jeff that there is a difference publishing and editing content. And at the moment when Facebook or YouTube starts publishing the content or pushing the content specifically tailored to certain groups of people, then we start having an issue. However, I do think that primarily we should let those private organizations to try to monitor its content and then see what's going to happen. And I think that creation of the oversight board is a good step forward. And hopefully it's going to lead and create example to other private companies to have certain accountability and to step outside of this isolation that they are primarily enjoying right now.
Okay, Fernando, why can't Trump just speak? I mean, I literally don't know why the man just can't speak.
He can't. He can speak. They're just not letting him speak. Nick talks about you can go to other places on the internet, but the problem is that the internet isn't allowing sites like Parler to exist, where all the crazy conservatives can get on there and say whatever they want. The avenues on the internet for him to speak are being cut off. So what he did was go and create his own blog. He throws his tantrum, becomes a snowflake, and creates his own blog. And that's what he's done. Who's on it? Who knows? Where it is? Who knows? Maybe Adam can tell us. I find it also very interesting that Adam 100 times over has been on the show against the First Amendment and free speech. And now all of a sudden he's a champion of free speech and you can say what you want, so on and so forth, I guess, because this time around it doesn't involve him. This is, he's got me very confused. He's got me very confused.
No, you can in a second, but I mean, this is how we're going to do it. Nick, Trump is a snowflake. Adam, we're coming to you. Jeff, I'm coming to you so that you can make sense of it. And then Guidry, we're just going to run right down the board. So, Nick, Adam.
Bill, his freedom of speech has not been violated. He has every right to stand outside his mansion in Palm Beach and yell and scream all his lies, his conspiracy theories. He's won the election, he's free to do that. And he may be subject to having to be on medication, go to a mental hospital where he probably belongs anyway. Or what you can do is you can rally around him on a website, and like he did in Parler, which was taken off by an app. It wasn't taken down. If they were competent, they would be continue running it on their website. So freedom of speech is not.
Nick, I got it. Listen, right. Who was next? Who was arguing next? Because I got to go. Adam, give me a second. Jeff, you've been a bit silent. And remember, you're our voice from out west. So, Jeff, Adam, and Guidry, please.
Well, I'll agree with Nick to this extent. I think, Facebook is a private company. They have a right to have any viewpoint they want and to put that viewpoint out there. But if they're going to censor particular viewpoints and say that's radical, that is an unacceptable speech in our society, and we choose not to give voice to it, then they are controlling the content on their network, and they need to no longer have immunity by making the excuse that we can't be responsible for things people are saying on our platform because we're just a platform. We're not out there publishing or controlling the content.
Okay,
if
fine,
they're
fine.
controlling the content.
I got that argument. Adam Guidry, Adam, why can't I, if I own something, why can't I just say no? I mean, simply. I mean, at the end of the day, there's a yes and there's a no. Why can't I just say no, Adam? And then
Because discrimination is wrong and inequality is wrong. I have repeatedly said on the show that I do not believe in an absolute right to free speech, that there is some speech so vile, so hateful, that it should not be permitted. My point on this show is that when you implement rules on social media, you must apply them equally to people regardless of their viewpoint or their political party. Facebook and Twitter are not applying them equally. They're applying them in a discriminatory manner. And I point you to one simple example. Jack Dorsey and his friends and Mark Zuckerberg and his minions allowed these Russian conspiracy theories to fester and foment on their social media platforms indefinitely. But when it comes to Trump, they so readily censor him. This is discrimination. And again, I'm shocked that Guidry would be endorsing discrimination.
Okay, no, not fair.
And what I thought she represented, it's a very troubling night to hear this.
Guidry, it's not troubling at all. Guidry, where are you? Your turn.
I would have thought Guidry would stand for equality.
Okay, Adam, I got that part. Guidry, I mean, I don't know why Adam is cranky tonight. I don't know why he's mad at you. I mean, I just don't understand, because normally everybody agrees with you. Guidry?
You know, Bill, I don't know myself right now where I am with all these comments from Adam. You know, social networks have been taking over our lives. It's controversial. It is messy. It is also politicized. We have to deal with it. Now, on the other hand, we have Section 30 that gives a lot of space for social networks to exist. So whether we like it or not, we have to come up with a solution that would please both of the sides. It's not going to happen. Yet, at this point, in my opinion, we should really give those networks and those platforms ability to figure it out their operation. So we grow and we learn. Yes, maybe in the past, Facebook did not such a good work when it comes to moderation of the content. It happened in 2016. However, right now we're in 2021. Facebook is creating an oversight board, has 20 members from all over the world. If I'm not mistaken, Facebook also has 15,000, approximately that number, of content moderators around the world. So we are trying to work together with coming up with a better solution. So therefore, I think Congress should wait a little bit. We should honor the freedom of 230 section and also see what's going to happen, because I think we are going to the good direction.
Okay, Nick, here's my quandary, and Jeff, I'm coming back to you. But Nick, this is where I'm really stuck on things. I mean, I'm really stuck on stupid. I mean, you know, social media, the ability to run amok, private corporations, free speech. I mean, everybody comes into my office and they always say they got a constitutional right. So, Nick.
And political speech. Hey, as you know, political speech is one of the highest forms of speech that is protected from the government interfering. But see, that's not the case there. This is where Adam has a warped sense. This is a private company called Facebook. Now, I know he works for the state of Georgia, so he thinks everything's government. It's not. Okay, this is a private company. The private companies do it their way, or you can take the highway and take your Trumpsters and all your friends, like the World Wrestling Federation has. Who is that? Hulk Hogan and all his Hulksters somewhere else. Put them on it. Go to a different channel. Go somewhere else. You're not losing any freedom, Adam. So the only freedom you're losing is in your mind, that you think that you have the right to come on to
okay.
network
all right. Okay, that's not
right.
helpful. Jeff, and then we're gonna go to Jeff. Adam, before I come to you. All right, Jeff, you go ahead. Jeff.
You're muted.
Okay. Well, you know what I know? back in World War II, we called this SNA.
No, we muted Jeff. See if he disagrees with me. He gets
Can you mute
muted.
Guidry?
What?
No, Adam, you're on timeout right now because I
Can we mute Adam?
No. I got something for Adam in a minute.
Okay,
Right now,
right.
I need Jeff. Look, these are the vagaries of live television. So, Jeff, if you can ever figure, got it. Okay. In any event, okay. So moving along, Adam, you know what I have in my hand right here?
Do tell. Yeah.
Oh no, because I was waiting for this.
One of my law review articles? An excerpt from one of my books?
You write so much stuff; it's incredible. I don't know what's wrong with you. We don't want to read any of that. Well,
I would characterize it as what's right with me, but hey, everybody's entitled to their opinion. That's why discrimination is wrong, Guidry.
Yeah. If you Google this guy's name, zillions of articles come out, all sorts of stuff. It's just
Adam. May I read the title?
Please do.
Okay. Because, with social media, Twitter, Facebook, Fernando's talking about Facebook jail. Fernando, I'm coming back to you. But it seems to me, I have an article here. It was published in 87. You ready? Adam, I really, look, can I get just me and Adam on this screen? Because I really want to see his reactions. Right. You ready? It's one of your favorite subjects.
Okay.
I got it right here. May I?
Read the damn thing already.
From Lochner to Rowe. Community consciousness as constitutional context. Now, don't you think that social media is a community? 1, 2. Don't you think it ought to have a community context? Do you think it ought to have a constitutional context? Public right, private right. Adam, may I see your reaction?
The answer is yes. A resounding yes. And the cornerstone of that community consciousness is equality, is applying standards equally and not discriminating against viewpoints that you don't like based on subjective and arbitrary criteria. And that's exactly what Facebook and social media are doing. They are suppressing conservative voices because they want to advance an agenda. And that is not community consciousness, okay? That is suppressing speech, a recipe for inequality, arbitrariness, and antithetical to liberty. And again, the fact that Guidry would countenance this type of discrimination is just appalling, and I'm really surprised. And I still wait for her explanation on why she favors discrimination.
Whoa, hang on. We got to get Jeff. Fine.
I will say this, Bill.
No, go ahead.
I just want to say that they're all right that the First Amendment does not apply to private corporations. What I'm saying is that Congress has to come in and act, and I think Guidry is absolutely right that we have to revise Section 230 to create some type of legislation that ensures equality in the private sphere, so that First Amendment rights can be expressed equally without regard to viewpoint or politics.
Fine, I don't care. Jeff, are you back on board? And Guidry coming to you? No, Jeff, Adam, I love you. Jeff, are you back on board?
Likewise.
Yeah, always the mic.
I think Jeff, the situation with Jeff is the best example of the censorship. Sometimes being chopped off.
And once again, she embraces the censorship of Jeff, which again is an example of discrimination that I abhor.
See, this is where I totally disagree with Guidry. I do not. I don't like the censorship of Jeff.
Well,
but I think Adam it would be okay. But unfortunately, his mic works. But go on.
I need Fernando. Right now, I need Fernando. Fernando, can I get you in here on this one?
Yeah.
Then what do you got?
Well, what's your question? We've been going around. I've lost track of what the question is.
Okay, let me try it again. Doesn't Trump have the right to speak and not be censored by private companies that he maybe could own. I mean, I don't know. Maybe he buys them. I don't know. I don't know what the problem is. And didn't you just call him a snowflake?
Because he is. He likes to throw a lot of tantrums and file a lot of lawsuits for absolutely no reason most of the time. And he can say whatever he wants. And I'm not pro Facebook censoring him. The same way that they let, people on the left say whatever they want, and there's a bunch of Antifa pages out on Facebook and they say whatever they want. Guess what? He should be able to say whatever he wants. They don't really censor the Antifa pages that much, and people who believe in that in the right of anarchy, that I see those things popping up all the time, and nobody stops them.
No, hang on, that's unfair. You cannot say that.
It's not unfair. It's what's happening.
No, you can't, Jeff.
You should be on Facebook more often. It's what's happening.
All right,
Jeff, please.
So I don't believe that what Adam is arguing is a First Amendment argument. I think what he is suggesting is that there is discrimination against particular political viewpoints. And of course, we don't have anything in the civil rights laws that prevents that kind of discrimination. I think he's calling for something like that to be enacted. I don't favor that approach. I do believe Facebook is a private entity and it has a right to censor the content on the page if it wants to. It just shouldn't be asking us for immunity from lawsuits if it's controlling content. I also believe that oversight boards, particularly government oversight boards for private companies, I don't believe that's what I want to see. I believe in a robust marketplace of ideas, lots of different companies, lots of different platforms, and with the right to control the content on their platform. But if you're going to do that, then don't ask for immunity. Be willing to be sued like everybody else.
Yeah. Okay, fine, whatever. Nick, seriously, no. Nick, let me set this up, and then Deidre, I'm coming to you. Don't think, because we're going to go right across the board. Nick, listen. I mean, on another show, I argued that if I won the votes, why can't I, govern? Now, Nick, if you own the company, why can't you decide? Because it's your money. And then, Deidre, please, I need your heart.
Yeah, and this is where I disagree with Jeff. I agree up to the point of trying to get rid of this immunity. I like the fact that we're immune from crazy lawsuits by crazy attorneys which sit on lawyers' den and listen to the show around the world. I mean, think about it. The last thing we want on the IBM TV network, which is broadcast on Pod TV because of big tech, is to have a bunch of lawyers say, well, I don't like what he said, so I'm going to sue him. Or even worse, Adam jumps up, well, I'm admitted to the Georgia bar, I'm going to sue him because I didn't get equal time. This immunity thing is a good thing for free. It actually helps encourage free speech. So it should be done. But at the same time, since we control the network bill, if we don't want to listen because Adam has some crazy idea and he goes, I got equality, I want my crazy idea, we have the right to keep him off because we don't want to listen to his crazy idea. So this is where I differ from Jeff. We have the right, we do get it both ways. Thank you, big tech. Thank you, Facebook. Thank you, Twitter, for showing us the way, the truth, and the light of media. And that's what we're seeing.
All right. Okay, Deidre, listen. I know you may not do this. I wouldn't even advise this. You ever talk to your clients over Twitter?
No.
Good. So hang on. If you can censor legal advice over Twitter, why can't I censor Trump?
Could you repeat the question?
Why can't I censor a former president over Twitter?
Got it. Well, okay. You cannot censor just for apples or, different expressions or whatever, depending on your mood. You have to censor based on your rules, regulations, inside standards, and also society's requirements or something that is accepted within the society. So each private organization, company such as Facebook, wants to be accountable to a certain extent and accepted by the society. So there is a big encouragement for them to fulfill those norms, to make themselves accountable and liked or approved by the society. For this reason, Facebook created those rules and regulations called Facebook Standards, Facebook Values, and International Human Rights, by which they're trying to moderate the content. I will agree with Adam. They were not fully successful. In fact, I think they were not successful. But they are trying to move forward and they are trying to make an example. I also don't like Mark Zuckerberg playing God and calling this oversight board as a Supreme Court of Facebook. But we have to agree that Facebook is international, unprecedentedly big organization that also has completely different authority or different playground, for lack of a better term, and they are trying to incorporate something. They have created a trust, they open a trust for those 20 members who are going to evaluate the freedom of speech or the content that is being posted in private organization. And let's not forget that there is also 230, which I do not think that 230, Section 230 has to be amended or changed significantly. I think that there we need to focus on reasonableness. If I ask you, Bill, could you define me reasonableness? That's one word or one adjective that I think every single person in their heads will have a different definition. And now here we go to content moderation. I think we should work on certain definitions and how we could incorporate it and apply it in a better world.
Fernando?
Bill?
No, hang on. Fernando, you called it Facebook jail.
Yes,
Fernando?
I did. Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, no, I'm kind of curious. Now that you have Facebook jail, I think you called it a parole board. I think you called it an appeal board. I mean, at what point in time? I mean, we just heard a stirring defense for Trump's speech. What do you have, Fernando?
I agree with what Jeff has to say, and it is Facebook jail. I've been in Facebook jail a few times, and the ability to appeal is nothing more than you checking off a box. They don't allow you to counter what they're saying, and they just say we're going to kick it to another area to review it, and then it comes back and says, oh, we're upholding the decision. You never get an opportunity to challenge what they are, kicking you off for, and to provide an explanation. It's complete and utter nonsense. And the truth of the matter is that they are slanting their platform in a certain way. That's fine, but you can't have your cake and eat it too. You can't sit here and hide behind the protections of 230, manipulate content, and then sit there and say, hey, we're just distributing stuff. I don't know what's going on. If you're going to manipulate the content,
no,
then you have to be opened up to liability.
Not if I own the platform. Jeff, Adam.
Absolutely.
I thank you, Fernando. Jeff, Adam, and then Nick. Jeff, Adam,
Well,
please.
If you own it, then take responsibility and be liable to be sued if it's misused. For dangerous purposes, someone publicizes an Antifa rally or something else, then take responsibility and be sued. If it's your private business and your content, go ahead and do that. If you're merely a neutral platform, then you get immunity. That's my position. I would also suggest that I can't go with Guidry's suggestion that we have to come up with speech review boards that decide what is reasonable and what standards people are allowed, by standards by which people are allowed to express their opinions. That's horrifying. That's the Ministry of Truth from George Orwell's 1984, and I don't want an Orwellian society. So,
okay, Adam and Guidry, you're coming back in, but Adam, please, your thoughts, and Adam, just make sure you don't talk to the African American community right now because we're talking about Twitter.
Well, my comment includes and is directed to all communities. I'm so sick and tired of being the only one who calls out all of this BS. An oversight board is ridiculous because all they're going to do is stack the oversight board with people who agree with their viewpoints, which is going to lead to the very discrimination I'm speaking against. This is not a Republican or Democratic issue. It's not a political issue. All views should be welcome. Okay? All views should be welcome. Congress should enact a statute requiring social media to welcome all views consistent with the limitations already enunciated by the Supreme Court under the First Amendment in cases such as Brandenburg versus Ohio and Miller versus California. Okay, number two, Jeff wants to have it both ways. He wants to say, let's allow social media to discriminate all they want, but then let's let them get sued. Well, I think that leads to a really convoluted world in which a lot of harm occurs and a lot of remedies are elusive. Let's favor equality at the outset, and that comes through a congressional statute saying social media has to behave in a manner consistent with creating a robust marketplace of ideas in which all political viewpoints, regardless of political party, are represented and are only limited based on the limitations the Supreme Court has established, and that is obscenity, fighting words, and the like.
Okay. You know what? For once, Adam, I kind of like you.
Well, you know, Bill, let me just say also with respect to Guidry, and thank you for that. Guidry makes a lot of sense. I think that she really brings a lot of decency and strong intellect to the law, and I think her instincts are right. I just think that she needs to be a bit more specific, and I think that Guidry and I could come together on a solution that would benefit everybody and vindicate the equality principle that I know we're both dedicated to.
Guidry, do you have an answer to Adam? Please. And then I'm going to switch you to it.
Adam, I'm speechless. First time I really
I tend to have that effect.
You do, you and your hair for sure. But I would rather respond to what Jeff said. Jeff is proposing that Congress should incorporate and create the rules and regulations for the speech to be regulated or monitored by the private companies. And there my question would be, who would be policing it? Right now, the similar regulations are incorporated by the good feeling effort trying to moderate content that incite danger, that is imminent danger, that is discriminatory, and that also is hateful. I agree that it's not working fully, but my problem with that would be we would really need to think about everything, how we would enforce that. And I think that more reasonable is try to work together with private companies in regulating it.
As long as you apply it fairly.
Let's do it fairly.
I think Bill is muted.
But we like this.
Oh, Bill muted himself.
Yeah, no. Fine, I'll do the middle. Look, I wanted to go around the horn. Nick, I'm come back to you. But I wanted Fernando, Jeff, because they just had a cat. I don't know if he's divorced over the hair or something. I mean, whatever. Fernando, Jeff, Nick, please.
Okay. So, look, pick a lane. Either you're distributing content or you're manipulating content. You can't have it both ways. And if you're going to manipulate content and you're going to exclude stuff from your site, then yes, 230 needs to be narrowed. And yes, it needs to be opened up to liability. You can't have cake and eat it too. And I'm not pro any of these oversight committees or any of this other stuff. That just sounds Orwellian. It sounds, like an Eastern Bloc country. You have a platform, you should be able to say what you want to say. If you don't like what Trump has to say, too damn bad. Don't subscribe. Don't click like to his page. Don't listen to it. Ignore it. This whole concept that because there are people that like what he has to say and they're crazy and they're this and that. Guess what? That's existed since forever. You've had a bunch of nuts who believed the world news when I was a little kid that Martians were landing and lifting you up into a spaceship and anally probing you and then sending you back.
Okay.
All right. And that was right there. That was right there on the newsstand, right next to the New York Times. So
censor him. Censor him.
We've always had these issues, and if people are too dumb to realize what is phony or is dumb or not real, that's their problem.
Okay. All right. We're gonna keep this train on track. Jeff, please.
Well, first of all, I think Guidry misunderstood my proposal. I was arguing against either government or private speech boards. So I don't favor the government speech committee or anything like that. In fact, I'm arguing against Adam's proposal, which is that we're going to have Congress pass a law to make platforms viewpoint neutral. I think that's problematic for a whole variety of reasons. Do you make Netflix let anyone that wants to put a movie on there? Do you require that of VidAngel? Do you require that of YouTube? I think each individual platform has to be able to define its own purpose and mission. It's just that you shouldn't get liability if you're controlling the content on the platform rather than just providing a platform for others to speak. Now, I'll tell you why I'm opposed to Adam's proposal, because you pass a law like that and somebody has to administer it, which means somebody has to decide whether or not the speech regulations are fair. And they've got to decide what content is permissible and what content isn't. And, you know, the road to hell was paved with good intentions. If you look at PBS, for example, PBS is controlled by the political leaders of our society, and it tends to be pretty left-leaning. It's not a fair, impartial government station.
No, Jeff, I appreciate that. Adam, I'm coming to you. Jeff called you out. That's why I got to do this. However, I want our audience to know that after we do this, we're going to do a lightning round. And we're going to run around the horn. So, Adam, Guidry, Jeff, you have my constitutional heart.
I want the audience to listen to what Jeff just said. He is against my proposal because it is viewpoint neutral. In other words, I would allow Democratic, Republican, conservative, libertarian viewpoints, no matter how offensive and distasteful they may be, because that's equality. He's against that. Instead, he wants to allow social media to discriminate. That's wrong. I don't favor it. Neither should you.
Guidry, are you out there? Where are you at, Guidry? Because, I mean, you know, please help me understand something around here. Guidry?
I will try to do my best, but my point is, Jeff and Fernando have been talking about Trump being attacked by the social media platforms and discriminated against or silenced by. It took January 6th and Trump's specific statement to be inciting for him to be banned from the social media platform. So it does not happen every day or every second day. It's a very legitimate cause, and it took a lot for that to happen. So that is one of the examples, one of the extreme examples that it takes for someone to be kicked out or banned from certain network. And therefore, I think that understanding is misconstrued in this particular point.
Okay, Fernando, you're up.
Yeah, okay. Here we go again with the nonsense that his speech incited a riot. Nowhere in the speech is he telling anybody to storm the Capitol. It's just liberal nonsense. Those people acted on their own accord. Don't really know why nobody gets that through their heads, or why nobody wants to understand that. Why? Because they want to keep pushing the same BS narrative that it was an incited riot. Half of those people were sitting there, and they weren't even. They were going to be. They're going to be charged with trespass because they didn't do anything. So I don't know what kind of rioters these were that are only going to get trespassed. Bottom line here is that before January 6th, Trump had been banned. Trump had had his statements suppressed. Trump had had other things removed from Twitter and from Facebook. Again, if you're going to do it to one side, you need to do it to the other side and keep it fair, even, and balanced. And that's the problem. They're not doing that. They're picking and choosing what they want to censor and what they want to ban.
No, I got it. You're not putting the word.
Well said, Fernando.
Oh, please.
Oh. I mean,
Is there someone similar, like to Trump and to his statements from the more liberal side? And also,
Yes, everybody who advocated there was Russian election interference.
when we
Brian
had
Stelter, Don Lemon, Anderson Cooper, take your pick.
please,
Maxine Waters just
Okay.
advocated for violence if the George Floyd trial didn't go their way.
As they say,
What
denial
happened to
is
her?
not a river in Egypt.
Nobody said anything. Nobody tried to impeach her. Nobody did anything.
when we had
Come on.
people attack,
Fernando is exactly right.
come on, if that's not urgent, unprecedented danger to our society, and it's not possible incitement of danger, thank God it ended peacefully.
You mean the lies about Russian election interference?
Oh, please. Let's agree to disagree.
I see. Given that you are from the, no.
Exactly.
I'm not going to go into this, but I'm sorry. Fernando's 100% right.
well,
I love you, Gidry.
No, Jeff. I mean, you got anything to say? Before I call this quits. But I mean, Jeff.
Well, like I said, I favor private companies being able to do what they want and being held responsible legally if anything happens as a result of that. And that includes anything from defamation to, advertising an Antifa riot that turns violent. So I think we've got a problem when we're trying to implement something legally to make private companies neutral politically. I don't agree with that. I don't believe in that. I just think that they don't get immunity if they are controlling the content. So, but I mean, I don't agree with Adam's proposal that Netflix ought to have just as many liberal movies as conservative movies or whatever. I mean, I think viewpoint neutrality is in the eye of the beholder. It's best for the government to stay completely out of that. But if you're going to censor based on viewpoint, you're no longer just a platform. You're a publisher, and you don't get immunity. At least in my perfect world.
Okay, Nick, we've heard everything, and look, before I do land the plane, I have to tell you this. Look, censoring movies, viewpoint neutrality. I mean, that is a blur. Nick, what can you do that makes sense for all of this? And then can you land this plane?
Yeah. Number one is basically eliminating the lawsuits, which Section 230 does, which is really great, Bill, because then it encourages free speech and allows all these people who are on lawyers' den to say all the crazy things that they've been saying, and especially Adam. And I'm not worried about being sued. And at the same time, we should be allowed as a network to also control the content. So if Adam goes off the deep end, which he's liable to do at any point in time, and say something even more crazier, we have the right to control it. So this is where I disagree with Jeff. We should have it both ways. I disagree with Fernando. We should be able to have it both ways. Eliminate the liability, but also eliminate the craziness. And the situation right now is perfect for big tech and big media. And my tears just flow for Donald Trump and the fact that he's off Twitter and Facebook. Oh no, I could care less. And that's where I sit. Yes, Bill.
Thank God I was on mute. So, Nick, may I try to play?
Sure.
Can we land this plane? I know you're a stickler for time.
Oh yeah, that's right. We're at the hour, so we do want to thank everybody around the world for watching The Lawyer's Den, and we will see you next time. Thank you. And Guidry goes, let's go look at something that took place 40 years ago. Who cares? Okay, that's political.